Hey guys, and welcome back to the ASX Investor channel. We are bringing to you all another ASX CEO interview. I'm really excited about this one. Today, we're welcoming to the channel Leslie Chong, the CEO of Imugene. I'm sure by now you might have heard about the ASX IMU story. They've had a phenomenal uplift over this past period. There's been a huge amount of interest surrounding them. But what they're trying to do is serve and provide a solution in a critical industry that really does have the ability to impact many lives around the world. It's a noble mission. It's one that, of course, many of us find very close to heart and very important. So today we're looking forward to unpacking that story. Leslie, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the channel. Welcome.
Oh, I'm a fan. Thank you so much for having me.
It is a pleasure. I'd love to just start, first of all, of course, the Imugene story over this past period has been very exciting, but it's been developed over many years. Did you want to talk about who Imugene is and the opportunity that you're trying to solve?
Look, Imugene had been started roughly about 2013 when Mr. Paul Hopper decided to take on this unique little B-cell therapy that we call HER-Vaxx, and he backlisted into an existing company, and that's how IMU was then formed. So that's 2013. And then in 2015, I left a really profoundly touching career at Genentech and moved across the pond from San Francisco to Sydney to head up Imugene as we know it. And we've been able to not only parlay HER-Vaxx into the clinic in stomach cancer, we have also been able to put PD1-Vaxx into the clinic in lung cancer. We're just about to go into a triple negative breast cancer. And then just as early as the end of this year, we will be putting our viruses, our oncolytic viruses across many, many types of solid tumors. And then in 2022, we have this new product that we call OnCARlytics. And it's this very unique, eloquent, engineered virus that expresses a protein to attract these powerful CAR Ts to it, and then elicit your own endogenous T cells to come and attack it. So you've got a tripling effect of your chance of your body just getting rid of your tumor type. So I couldn't be more excited. I mean, from a $12 million market cap when I first joined to now reaching 2 billion, and we're a little bit back down, but we're doing the things that matter here in Imugene, and that is to create oncology medicine that keeps people alive longer than with a lot of safety and less toxicity.
It's an incredibly important mission. And of course, as so many people have been watching it, it's been a rapid run up. The pipeline, of course, is getting fuller and fuller every day. Could you speak a little about immunotherapy? What actually is it and why this is such a hot area of research at the moment?
Well, back even in the 1800s, these doctors noticed that patients who developed a cold or had the flu were somehow, some of their cancers were just disappearing. And there were a lot of thought about your immune system and how cancer evades the immune system. So what we know now is that, in fact, cancer is this terrible mutation in your body. For whatever it's worth, it has been mutated for tens of years to 30 years, and your immune system no longer recognizes it. So these new immuno-oncology therapies are all about waking up your immune system and making it do what it's supposed to do, which is to go and find malignant cells and get rid of it. But cancer, because it's devious, really, I don't even want to give it the name clever, but they hide. They're terrible, nefarious things, and they hide from your immune system. And what Imugene specifically wants to do is not only allow your immune system to create the drugs on your behalf so that that potential of safety, less toxic therapy is out there. We really want to right the wrong of your own biology to cure yourself.
Yeah, it's an exciting area. And for those maybe who might not be as familiar, would love to hear a little bit about currently the other solutions that are out there available, and also about the development process. Of course, there's the different pillars. So how are they progressing at the moment?
So I think cancer therapy, everybody knows about chemo, quite toxic, caustic. There's radiotherapy where they zap it, or they do a huge amount of surgery and cut it out. And as I said, cancer has been living in your system for a really long time, and it knows how to hide, and it knows how to recreate those cells and multiply at such an accelerated rate. So there are therapies that inhibit cell signaling, meaning it no longer, your cells don't send the signals to multiply, or it sends the signals for it to die finally. Those are small molecules and they inhibit cell signaling. And then there's a whole swath of immune systems, altercation, be it a monoclonal antibody, synthetically made antibodies, or our B cell therapy, which is quite innovative. It's relatively new, where we have your B cells then create the antibodies or the drug. There are things like, CAR-Ts, which is a chimeric antigen T cell therapy, which are really powerful. They basically reprogram your immune system to see a certain kind of target. I'm sure you've heard of CRISPR, which is quite exciting. It's that gene therapy where they really align your genes to no longer create any sort of cancer, which I think, we might see something in our lifetime, but I still think that that's got a long way to go. So that's how sort of I see trajectory of cancer therapy. And of course, there's a lot in that immuno-oncology space. There's NKs, there is just regulatory, checkpoint inhibitors, and we're just moving on. Science is really building on each other, and we're now able to stand on the shoulders of people that have come before us to create even brighter, bigger, more innovative therapies.
That's incredible. And just to hear of your passion as well, speaking about it, it's such an exciting opportunity. Would love to hear, of course, you've got the HER-Vaxx in phase 2. You had some incredible initial results and the full announcements coming through potentially as early as August. Can you speak about the progress on that and what you're looking forward to?
Yeah, so HER-Vaxx was well designed in that it's a phase 2 and it's randomized, meaning certain patients went into the HER-Vaxx arm and other patients went into the standard of care arm. And it's a statistically correct way to go because you want to have a real scientific comparator. And that's exactly what we've done in that stomach cancer type. And we're measuring for a few things here. We're measuring for progression-free survival as compared to the standard of arm, and also overall survival. So you really want cancer medication to make you live longer, right? And then all the subsidiary outcome of that, what are the side effects? Is it a quality of life? Those kind of things are quite secondary. However, survival is a main key endpoint, and progression-free survival. So we already have reached the progression-free survival statistical number. We're currently working through that data and cleaning that up so that we can provide a top line of progression-free survival. We have yet to hit the overall survival because patients are still living, right? So that's great. So the longer they live, the longer I can't cut that data and show everybody, but actually the longer they live is actually going to be better for the data. So I'm not rushing that at all. And then with our PD1-Vaxx that's in lung, as early as the first 2 cohort, we saw patients come in and these are patients in lung cancer that have already progressed off of approved meds like pembrolizumab, atezolizumab, their monoclonal antibodies, and their anti-PD1s or anti-PD-L1s. And so we're offering them maybe a third, fourth chance in life because they've progressed through these therapies. And there was a patient that came in, and even when I think about it, I'm just so happy. So he had a complete response. He got his scans. And remember, these patients have already failed other lines of therapy. Their tumors have already started growing. They come on our study, they get the scan, and they get to come home to their friends and family to say, I don't have cancer anymore. My lung is free of cancer. And they're still 100, 150 days out. They're still without cancer growth. I'm thrilled. I am so thrilled for them. And I'm hoping that progresses. In phase 1, you're not looking for efficacy. It's generally mostly about balancing how much drug you can put into a patient before toxicity catches up. Much like if you take a lot of aspirin, yeah, your headache will go away, but then you get other side effects, and you don't want that, especially in a cancer med. So it's this balance. We have yet to have hit any sort of toxicities. We're getting some really interesting signs and efficacy, but for the moment, we're just trying to balance that and get our optimal biological dose, because once we get that, we can go on to other studies. And then, of course, our oncolytic virus, that is just a rock star. It attacks any solid tumors. It's a virus that just loves to go beat up solid tumors. Like, it doesn't like cancer as much as I do, and it just goes after it and infects it, multiplies, and then it goes on to the other solid tumors, and it keeps doing this, and it's cyclical, and it draws upon your other immune system. So it's almost like a combination punch, to your cancer. And so that is going to be going into the clinic as early as a few months from now.
It's incredible. And of course, just hearing about the results and the opportunity that it can provide for a company like ASX IMU, the opportunity is vast. It's a great growth runway, but most importantly, it will make a tangible difference if successful. So we'll all be supporting and hoping that the journey goes successfully. We'd love to.
I hope that not just for the company, for these patients who are reaping the benefit. I mean, that's the beauty of these products.
Yeah, it's an incredibly important one. And then I guess that brings us to what I've heard you describe as the Holy Grail. Of course, it's the ability for universality of treatment, the oncolytics treatment. Of course, there's significant ability at the moment to treat the blood cancers, but what this means for the solid tumors and how will that play out if successful?
So I'm extremely excited about OnCARlytics. OnCARlytics is our CF33, our oncolytic virus, and has a transgene of this protein called CD19. CD19 just means cluster particles 19, but they are expressed or shown in blood types so that these powerful drugs like CAR-Ts can go and literally obliterate it. So you've got 60 to 90% curative rates or responses. Patients come in, they get that one-time infusion, and they're set for life. That's just one of those wonderful drugs, and it's almost nearly a miracle. It rights the wrong of your immune system permanently. And so that, unfortunately, that kind of curative rate does not happen in solid tumors. Solid tumors have a myriad of signaling, myriad of different proteins, a myriad of what's mutated. And so you've got a variety of types, and there's not always, even though we might know the mutations, we might not have the drug that couples it. In this case, we make something that doesn't really have a signature or expresses anything, or it's targetless for a product to be targeted now by a CAR-T. So we create your solid tumors to signal to your immune system and a CAR-T that's directed towards CD19. And in that combination, you've got an explosive drug that not only allows other viruses to infect your other solid tumors consistently and concisely, you've got CAR-Ts coming in there, and your own immune system is wondering what's going on and will come into the fight as well. So you've got three-prong approach. So it's just a huge obliteration of your solid tumors. So that's why I'm just over the moon about it.
To help to conceptualize that for those who might be familiar, if successful, what's the breadth of a treatment like that? What could that mean globally?
I think globally it could mean, so currently immuno-oncology drugs leads to roughly about 20-30% response. And they're durable. Sometimes they're long lasting and sometimes they're not. But if we can really affect, as I said, that three-prong approach with a CAR-T or something even more powerful, then we could see a complete response that you see in blood cancers, like 60 to 90%, which there's never been anything like that in solid tumors. And so even if we could affect it 30%, 40%, 50%, it's so much, it's double the amount of responses that we can get than anything that we have seen so far.
It's incredible, and we'll definitely be watching for this. And of course, that has come as a result of the partnership with the City of Hope, but along with the incredible technologies and everything you've been developing, you've got an incredible leadership team, management team, and the knowledge in-house at Imugene. Did you want to speak about what that enables you to do and the type of knowledge that you've had? Of course, a new chief business officer coming on board recently as well.
I hire people like you in that you're willing to do everything, you're very smart, you're flexible, people that are willing and as passionate as I am about what we're doing. They take up the fight when I'm not even around. So they all want to do this and get things done. They roll up their sleeves for everything. They do not think that anything is beneath them. I hire incredibly, incredibly smart people like yourself, and they they feel the same way. So we're motivated by the same vision and mission, and we do it faster and smarter than a lot of people because they're experienced, they've done this before, and they want to do it again. So we work together every day to get our products into patients.
It's incredible. I would love to hear as well that what do you identify? Of course, it sounds like it's the people, it's the capabilities, but what is that IMU point of difference that will set you apart as you continue on this journey moving forward?
I think it's that spark of genius and that spark of ingenuity, the willingness to go fast, to make a difference. You know, people throw around the word innovation. We think of that a lot. We think about being brave. You know, one of our mission is be brave. Speak up about maybe a new way to develop something, a new way to go about it. And we have such a, I mean, everybody's equal. And so our reporting lines are flat. Our committees are very flat, such that if there's a unique idea and we think that it's innovative, not just for the company, but for the patients, we go right to the board and talk to them about it. We get expediency in the company of approvals and we go right to it. So we're nimble. We are very clever at what we're doing. We're quite experienced and we're brave.
Love to hear that. And of course, I've got to ask, it's been a phenomenal past month and past 6 months really for the Imugene share price. How much attention do you pay to it as the CEO and any reflections that you might have of the rapid uplift?
Oh gosh. Okay. So I always, as a CEO, you always have to keep an eye on the share price. But I always say, I keep the eyes on the prize, and my eye on the prize is patient care. So if I focus on the science, if I keep my eyes on the prize of providing good medication for patients, then my share price will reflect that. It has to.
Of course. And for those investors who might be new to the IMU story or those who have been joining over this past period, did you have any reflections of what they should be looking for, key growth drivers, and anything that you'd like to share?
Well, you know, I think if you're looking at biotech companies to invest in, firstly, it's a speculative market. Biotech company, you can rise very fast. I mean, we went from what, 19 cents in April all the way up to 49 cents within a few weeks. It's astronomical, it's wonderful, and it follow the science. Our value follow the science, which is great. But I would say always look to see the people. Who are the people that you're investing in? Do they have a product, even though you might not know the science, but do they have a wide portfolio? Do they have experienced management team that knows how to do this? And is actually operationalizing and executing on the studies. And just the people matters here, and the products, yes, you need to look at the products, but a lot of times, as you say, biotech followers may not know the science. So if you don't know the science, at least look at the people, look at the perspective, portfolio items. Are they a one-shot pony? If that one study fails, then is there anything else to go to after that? So I would look in that way. That's how I would invest.
And then if we're looking out 12 months out ahead, what does the story look like for Imugene from now?
At that point, we'll be at 4 studies ongoing, maybe even a 5th study ongoing, maybe even a 6th study ongoing. So all our studies were going full speed at that point. So I imagine it's going to be pretty busy. And I like to roll up my sleeves and get into the clinical development because that's my first love.
It's so exciting. Did you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share, Leslie?
Well, I really love our investors because they've been with me for a long time. It seems like everyone has a story, especially cancer in their lives, be it their immediate loved ones to someone far or friends. And it's been a wonderful ride for Imugene, and I'm more excited about the patients who will benefit from these drugs in the future.
Congratulations to everything that you and the team have achieved over this past period, and truly does look like just the start of this next chapter and opportunity up ahead. So we'll be continuing to watch it. Thank you so much for joining us on the channel.
Thank you so much for having me.
What a fascinating conversation that was. A huge thank you to Leslie for sharing thoughts about the Imugene story. ASX IMU has been on a phenomenal run, and they're playing in such an important space that has the ability to impact lives around the world. We'd love to know your thoughts, so drop in a comment below what you think about Imugene and where do you think ASX IMU heads from here moving forward. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and feel free to share it out. This past period, we've interviewed a range of different CEOs on the channel, so we'll leave links to those that you can check out after this one. We're the ASX Investor channel and we make daily videos talking about the stock market, investing, and we find and analyse the best growth stocks. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you've got your bell notifications turned on as well, so you won't miss a daily episode, and we'd love to have you join the community. Imugene's a fascinating company. We'll definitely be watching to see where the story heads next. Thank you so much for joining us. For now, stay well and happy investing.